You're listening to the Get Unstuck podcast with business mentor, health and fitness influencer, and trainer Heather Newman. Each week, Heather provides you with tips and tools to glitter your soul and add sparkle to your life. Let's get unstuck. You are not a tree, so let's learn to move, change, and find true happiness by creating a vision and living your dreams. For blog posts, business tips, fitness training, at-home workouts, and more, subscribe to glitteru.com. Now, let's get happy. Here's your host, Heather Newman.
What is up, you guys? We are back for day 12 of our Daily Unleash. Today we're talking about anxiety, and man, I guess this is a more serious podcast than some of the other ones. You know, we're talking about anxiety and fears and stress and worry, and let's just be clear, I'm not a doctor. I'm only talking today from my own personal experiences, and I always advise you to consult your own doctor if you're having certain issues, but we're just here to kind of hang out as girlfriends and chat and share with each other what things have maybe helped us in the past. But here are the things that have helped me, so I'll just share them with you. I'm going to use one of my biggest fears as an example. And it was only after I had kids that I had this fear, which is so crazy because my dad retired from Delta Airlines, and my biggest fear after I had kids was flying. And it wasn't necessarily a fear, I don't guess. It was definitely a form of anxiety, but I didn't realize it. Like when I was younger, let's say, okay, I had the boys when I was 28 and 30. So let's just say early 30s, when we would go on a trip, I would have anxiety from the time I knew that the trip was coming. In like just a few days, I would start having anxiety with what do I need to pack? What, especially with the kids, if you had to pack for babies on the plane, that was even more. So it's like I'm not even just responsible for my own stuff, but now I've got these two little bodies that I've got to prepare everything for them. And I'm one of those people that I just overpack. I don't want to forget anything, and I don't want to have to spend extra money while I'm out on something that I knew I had, So the fear of flying, it came after I had my boys. Now, I don't know if that stems from, if I flew without them, because Ken and I went to Greece when Cameron was just, I think that was 2002, maybe? He might have been 2. I don't remember. But we flew to Greece and left the boys, and I was so scared. I was scared of what if something happened to Ken and I, and we have these brand new babies and little toddler at home, and it was just scary. I don't know. I don't even like talking about that. Now I'm like, Heather, you were being silly, but no, it was like that mama bear instinct, and I had a lot of anxiety over it. So much that I don't even know if I really, I loved Greece, but I was so concerned, we have to fly home, and that was 15 freaking hours. It was far. That was the farthest I had ever flown, and the idea of going around the world, and not being able to just pick up the phone and talk to my kids whenever I wanted to was kind of scary for me, but there's a lot of people that actually suffer with different fears and different anxieties. And a lot of them are people that you know, but you would never know that they suffer from anxiety because they're just suffering in silence. And some people just don't want to talk about it because it's easier to kind of bury it and put it away. But the things that help me through situations that make me anxious, and there are several of them. I've got a fear of going over bridges, especially long bridges in the rain or a thunderstorm. I had an accident in 1987 where I totaled my vehicle on a bridge, and the front of my car went through the side of the railing. And luckily I was driving a little Fiero that was very low to the ground because the state trooper said that my car would have gone over the swamp in Louisiana, Highway 59, had I not been in a car that was low to the ground. So I, to this day, still have this major anxiety attack if we are on a bridge and it starts to rain, because I have this flashback of that. And although I think I've worked through it, it still triggers that same feeling, So number one, try to figure out what the deep-rooted fear actually is. So assess yourself. And if it's something that gives you anxiety, like flying on a plane, dig deeper and be like, well, why? What scares me? I know for me, after digging and being like, well, I'm not scared like the plane's gonna just blow up. I'm not scared of, the pilot. He's definitely educated. He's been doing this. And a lot of times if I see the pilot, I'll be like, hey, how long you been flying? You can kind of look at them and see their age, and then I don't know. I like to meet the pilot and I feel better, but it's not even that. It's really, if I keep digging, and this is what I'm encouraging you to do, is really dig. Go deep and ask yourself, why is that triggering me to feel this way? If it's the bridge, if it's flying, whatever your trigger is, ask yourself, why is that? And you'll probably come up with some answers that you may or may not even realize that it comes down to really one thing. Just like with me flying, it comes down to me being out of control. And for an A-type personality, that's kind of hard. But really, when I keep peeling away the onion and peeling away the layers, that's really what it is I'm not in control of my destination. I am having to put my life, my family's life, in the hands of somebody else. And that is really what triggers my anxiety with flying. I also get a little anxiety when I go to pack, and that is because I feel like I'm spinning and I'm not organized. So I found what helps me with a packing situation is to have Nemo out of the way, because Nemo is a little chihuahua and he himself has a lot of anxiety that he reflects on me, because he can tell if we're packing our bags and packing a suitcase, he knows we're about to leave. And so he's got anxiety because he knows his world's being, turned around here. It's being messed up. And dogs like routine. They're very consistent. They're very persistent. They're very consistent in their habits, their routines, their rituals. And we should probably take some lessons from them. But they don't like when that gets disturbed either, especially a Chihuahua. He's very, very high strung. He never relaxes, poor thing. But he will give me anxiety while I'm trying to pack. And then the deal with packing, I learned that I should not pack everything in the kitchen sink. I have to learn that I don't pack options, right? I used to pack and want to have I don't know if I'm going to feel up for these shoes or this shirt or this shirt. And I've learned now, don't pack options. You have options at home, and 90% of the time you probably wear the same thing over and over and over again. So when you pack, or for me, I found when you go somewhere, plan the outfit. Don't plan the options. Don't give yourself options on a trip. And if you get in a situation where you're like, well, I don't know if it's going to be cold or it's going to be hot. I'll give you an example. We went to Napa, and it was freezing. And you guys, I packed outfits because I was like, I know what I'm going to wear to this event. I know what I'm going to wear to this event. And I literally brought one jacket that could be worn with all the outfits, casual or dressy. And I only brought one sweatsuit, it was back when Juicy Couture was really, really, really popular. I only had one outfit, and that outfit is in every single picture that we took when we were in San Francisco and Napa, because it was so cold, and it was the only outfit I brought that was long sleeve, long pants, and it was warm enough. But it was okay. It was totally okay. I took a scarf, I made it look different, or I brought a different handbag, or you know what I mean? I changed it up with the other things, but it worked out, and I didn't have all these options. So my biggest piece of advice for packing, if you get anxiety with packing, do not pack options, pack outfits. And if you have anxiety with flying, my biggest tip is to maybe kind of interview the pilot, try to see the pilot, and just tell yourself that he is the professional in that situation, and he has done this for a very long time, unless you've got a brand new pilot. And number 2 is just breathe. Like, catch yourself in the moment when you start to feel the anxiety coming on. Try to figure out what is triggering you, and is it like the one thing, or is it a volcano that is about to spew because a lot of things have built up over time? It's not this, like, look beyond that. What's causing it? Sometimes it is just the one thing. Like, if I'm going on a trip, I know I've got anxiety around that, but there's so many other things. But sometimes we start to get anxiety because we haven't worked through all the things that are giving us anxiety, and there's like a mountain of things, and it all just came together, and it's almost like a breakdown. So it's all personal for all of us. And I thought I was scared of flying, but that wasn't really, that. It wasn't about, I don't like turbulence, but I learned to take Bonine. I don't like the idea of being out of control, and the anxiety with the packing. It's just a struggle that I have, and I do have control over that, right? Like, I do have control over the packing issue, so I have to kind of take a step back, take a deep breath, work through it, make my list. But that stress and anxiety with packing, it really comes from knowing that I've got to pack for me. I don't necessarily have to pack for my kids anymore, but I always pack like snacks and games or something to do. I have to clean up the house. I like my house to be clean when we come back from wherever. And the dogs, I got to pack all their food. I got to pack all their belongings and all that stuff. So what do? I try to work out. I try to meditate. I try to move my body. I try to plan it out so that I know that these are triggers. These are things that will typically tip me over the edge, and I just have to take control of that on the front end. So the third thing I would say that contributes to anxiety and what you can do to help reduce anxiety, for me, it's my diet. So if I eat like crap, I'm definitely more anxious of a person. There's definitely a correlation there with what I eat and how I feel and how I react to things. When I'm eating clean and like having my shake every day, then I just feel more at peace. I'm more in control. I'm just better. And why is that? Keep a journal. Ask yourself, is the food any correlation to how I'm feeling, how I'm reacting, my anxiety, my stress, or talk to someone. Find the source of what is triggering your anxiety, know it, and know that it's part of you, and then figure out a way to work through it. You're going to have to dig deep here, and I know that takes some effort, but you can control the controllable, and then you're going to have to learn to just let the rest go. And I'm giving myself my own advice here because I'm going to come back and listen to this podcast if we go on a trip and I start to have that anxiety again. I'm going to remind myself that we control the controllable and we have to let the rest go. So work out with me. You can join me in the Tone and 10 online studio. Use resources to help you, people, tools just like this free podcast. And I have a free community. You can join us there on Facebook as well. All the links are always on my YouTube channel in the comments. And I try to put as many links as I can below the podcast, but they don't give me a lot of space. So be sure and subscribe over at glitteru.com. I hope you found this a little bit helpful, and you just know that you're not alone. I'm so glad that we had this conversation. And if you feel better, please share that below, and I will talk to you next time. All right, you guys, talk to you later.
Hey friend, thank you so much for listening to Heather's Get Unstuck podcast. Her goal is to help as many women as possible, and if this episode helped you in any way, you can directly impact Heather's efforts by simply sharing a screenshot of this to your social media or team. Also, if you're looking for additional support, feel free to find Heather on Instagram at GlitterU, her website at www.glitteru.com, and or join the free Get Unstuck community Facebook group.